Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fitness Goal Friday. Today, we are going to talk about what you should eat before you work out. The goal of the Best You podcast is to allow you to feel confident about what you need to do, why you need to do it, and how to do it in order to get closer and closer to your best you. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fitness Goal Friday. Today is a topic that I get asked a lot about, especially because I teach really early morning classes a lot. I teach 5 a.m. classes, 4 days a week. And so a lot of people will ask me, what should I eat before I come? And so I want to talk about what you should eat before you work out. Now, before I even dive into it, I want to preface with I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist, but I have experimented a lot myself, and I have had hundreds of clients who worked out with me early in the morning, and I've given them advice, and then I've heard feedback from them. So I do have some pretty good experience with what to eat before you work out. And this goes for whether or not it's early in the morning or not, but early in the morning can sometimes be the trickiest on determining what it is that you should or should not eat before you work out. So this episode is going to kind of split into 2 different parts. The first part is going to be talking about the factors that you should consider when determining what you should or should not eat. And then the second part is going to be actually giving you a little bit of advice and practicality in regards to what to eat. So factors that you should think about when considering what to eat before you work out. First one is the time of day / the last time that you ate. Now, for example, if somebody is working out early in the morning, then the last time that they ate might have been 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours ago. And so they will be working out on a relatively empty stomach. And now I'm going to be talking about that a little bit further here in a little bit. But if you're working out maybe mid-morning or late morning or anytime in the afternoon, right, you're not going to have that long of a period of time where you haven't eaten yet. And so you might have a little more fuel in your body already. And so with that being said, that takes me into factor number 2. It's the level of intensity that you're going to be working out with is a huge factor in determining what you should or shouldn't eat. Because if you plan on training at a super high intensity on a very empty stomach, probably not a great idea. You might get lightheaded and you might not be able to push to the limits that you might be able to if you had a little bit more energy in your system and in your body. And with that being said, oftentimes, if you have a lower body day or a leg day, with my 10-week transformation group, we always have a lower body day on Tuesdays. And lower body days are always going to take it a little bit more out of you than upper body days because you're literally working bigger muscle groups and you're putting more of a strain on your body. And so you're going to need a little bit more energy to expend on those days. And so you're going to want to make sure that, you might be able to work out on an empty stomach on a lower intensity day, maybe an upper body day or a day where you're just going to do light cardio. But if you're planning on really getting after it, having your heart rate really elevated and working lower body with a high intensity, then you might want to have a little bit more in your system. So those kind of first 2 go hand in hand with regards to the time of day and the level of intensity that you're working out at. If you're working at a really high intensity early in the morning and you've gone 12 hours without eating, you might want a little bit of something to feed your body with. But if you're working out in the afternoon and the last time you ate was 3 hours ago, then that's fine. You'll be able to train at a pretty high intensity and just be fine. And then the last factor that you need to just be aware of is personal preference and experimentation, because everybody's bodies react a little bit differently. I had a buddy in high school who was in good shape, but we always had early morning baseball workouts. And for whatever reason, no matter what he did, he always threw up. Some people just kind of have that trigger that when they're really working hard that they get sick because of it. He would try not eating anything. He would try eating a little bit. He would try eating a little bit more. He would try varying timings. And so a lot of it is personal preference and experimentation. And I know personally that I kind of like working out on a little bit of a lighter stomach, and I'm able to do it. So that's kind of my personal preference, is going a decent amount of time without having eaten. So that's why I usually like to work out in the morning and feel like I can perform the best when I work out in the morning on a little bit of a lighter stomach. And the way I'm going to kind of finish off this episode as well, after I dive into kind of specific examples, is talking about my current situation. Like, I'm getting ready to work out. At the time that I'm recording this, I am working out in an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm going to talk about these factors and what it is that I'm going to eat before I go. But for some specific examples, number 1, you want to just keep it relatively light, right? Like, I don't think anybody works out well and optimally on a full stomach. And so you kind of would want either or a healthy carbohydrate and or a protein. So like a healthy carbohydrate could be fruit, could be from a banana, it could be berries, it could be an apple, it could be from nuts, it could be from a nut or seed butter, it could be oatmeal, something that is going to allow you to push at the extremes, especially when you're going at a high intensity. Again, you have to keep all of these factors in play. If you're training at a high intensity, you might want something a little bit more sustainable and on the healthier carb format. But if it's a little bit lower intensity, you might not need that. You might just be able to eat nothing, or you might be able to get a good source of protein. And so again, a healthy carb or a healthy protein could be a fruit, a banana, berries, apple, and then healthy protein, a nut seed butter, some oatmeal, maybe some light turkey bacon or something like that. But that kind of brings me to, well, I guess before I give you my example, make sure whatever it is still real food. Like the principle of needing real food and minimal ingredients should always be the number one factor in what it is that you decide to eat. Don't eat, I promise you, if you look at some of these protein bars and some of these things that are touted as healthy, but then you look at their ingredients and there's like 17 different things in them, avoid it. Don't eat it. The only bar that I consistently eat is Lara bars because they have all real ingredients. I get the ones that is either 4 ingredients or 6 ingredients, and they're all basically real foods. And so that's what I personally like to eat. And it's pretty sustaining as well. So you could do a Lara bar, a banana, some nut seed butter, apples, berries, whatever it is. And so my specific example right now, so I'm going to work out at 10:45 a.m. It's a Sunday morning at a time that I'm recording this. And yesterday, I was not great nutritionally. I didn't plan to be good nutritionally. I had processed foods, I had some alcohol, and I probably stopped eating I probably had like my last bit of food at 9 or 10 p.m. last night. And now it's already been 12 hours since I've eaten. It's going to be about 13 to 14 hours when I'm actually working out. But I had processed food, and I want to make sure I'm kind of like doing a little bit of intermittent fasting and trying to burn fat when I work out. But at the same time, right before I go, I'm going to have like a handful of pistachios because I can feel myself probably going to need a little bit of that energy when I really push to high levels, because I'm getting ready to go take an Orange Theory class, and I know I'm going to get after it on the treadmill. And so my heart rate's going to get elevated. And so I feel like I need that little bit of something to sustain me through those higher levels of intensity that I'm getting ready to work at. So that's my current example. But again, guys, personal preference and experimentation is the number one thing that you can do. I'm getting ready to give advice to somebody who's in my 5 a.m. 10-week transformation program group. And I'm going to tell her this exact thing. I'm probably going to show her the podcast and tell her to listen to it, because everybody's body's a little bit different. And especially if you're not used to working out, maybe at 5 a.m. like she is not, you have to try things out. I'm going to tell her to probably try eating a little bit of something before our lower body days, but maybe try going not eating anything before the upper body days because of the level of intensity and the muscle group that we're going to be training. So I hope this helped you with deciding what you should eat before you actually work out. Personal preference and experimentation, and then assess how it feels. If you guys feel like you got something out of this episode and you feel like a friend or family member would get something out of this episode, then make sure you share it with them just by clicking those 3 little dots and sharing it via text. It takes 2 seconds. I would love for you to share it so that they can get this knowledge and they can implement it as well, so that they can optimally perform in their workouts and feel good while doing so. So make sure you share it with a friend or a family member. Make sure you also are subscribing to the Best You podcast if you are not already, and make sure that you leave it a rating and a review if you have not yet already as well. And also, those of you guys here in Nashville, I have a Topgolf event on Saturday, February 12th at 10 a.m. I'm super excited about it. It's going to have an awesome workout to the beat of the music. It's not cycling, it's the beat of the music. It's bodyweight exercises. It's so fun. It's my favorite part about it. And then afterwards, we're going to have a post-workout meal. I'm going to do a little motivational talk with everybody. So I'm super excited. So make sure you go to nickcarrier.com/topgolf to join us on Saturday, February 12th. Again, nickcarrier.com/topgolf. But other than that, I hope this episode today makes you feel like it will help you get closer and closer to your health and fitness goals, and ultimately help you get closer and closer to your best you.